the region.
That sounds amazing. You guys have 0 cases of COVID. Is it under lockdown or are you free to do what you please?
Uh,
Is it
the
normal
lock,
there? Is life normal there or are you guys still under lockdown?
the lockdown situation is better than before, and at the region, most of factory worker can go to factory company, and they started to work.
So factory workers are allowed to go to work.
That's right.
All right, that sounds productive. That's not the same here. Everything's closed here. They're slowly opening it up, then they close it. They'll say, "Oh, let's open the barber shop," and then they close it because they get like 1 or 2 COVID cases.
Wow.
Yeah, hopefully it's all gonna blow over. Hello, hello.
Oh, Erdi. Oh, he's called Mr. Web Talk. He'll make you popular. He'll interview you for his YouTube. He loves to interview everybody on Web Talk.
Hi, Erdi. How are you?
Hello.
How are
Hello,
things?
Titi Grant. Hello, Titi. Sorry. Azam
Zannie.
or
Yeah,
Zannie.
Zannie.
Teacher Zannie.
Zannie.
Yeah.
Hello, Titi Zannie. Thanks for the invitation. It's really a pleasure to join to you.
It's been a pleasure on my end as well. You look comfortable. You're just relaxing. Dinner time for you.
Yeah.
You remind me of me with
Actually,
like 3 different pillows.
sorry for my position,
No
but I
worries.
have
It's a
to.
relaxed, chill out zone. We're not professional. It's not a professional environment at all. I made this last minute. I'm pretty sure Teacher Grad's mad at me for doing this last minute.
No, I
Thanks
just
so
really
much.
want to make you. I really want people to get to know you and see you. And I'm worried that people won't know because maybe they plan to see you at 9 tonight, but I don't know. Who knows?
I doubt it.
I,
I doubt
I'm
it.
trying to get Toto and Trey May to join as well.
Let me share with you with this wonderful.
Yeah.
So I'm an English teacher and I live in Canada. I live in the north.
Wow.
So it's currently
That's
5:49 a.m. if you guys can
wonderful.
see.
Mhm.
It's morning for me. I literally got out of bed and I decided that I'm going to do a Q&A. So if you have any questions you want to ask about English stuff, we can discuss that. If you want to ask about life in the West, in Canada, and the United States, you can ask that. You can ask anything you want.
Thank you so much. Of course, I have questions. Mhm.
He always
Just
has questions.
let me share to let know others about your wonderful chat.
What's new for you guys in Vietnam? How's the weather there?
Well, Erdi is not
Actually, I'm
from
not
Vietnam,
from Vietnam.
but
I live in Russia.
Vietnam
Yeah,
at
I live in
present
Russia.
is sunny, and someday it's rainy.
Wow,
Wait,
rainy.
where's Erdi from? Erdi, where are you from?
I live in Russia.
Oh, cock dealer.
Yeah, my city is Elista.
I can say how are you in Russian. Isn't it cock dealer? Cock dealer?
Sorry.
I'm saying how are you?
how to say hello in Russian?
How to say hello in Russian? Привет, привет.
No, what does cock
Привет.
dealer mean?
Sorry.
Hold up.
Maybe he doesn't understand your Russian.
Yeah, he doesn't understand my accent.
She's trying to say something to you in Russian, Erdi. Go ahead and say it again, Danny. See if Erdi can understand your Russian phrase. Hi, Isabella.
Cock dealer. Cock dealer.
Как дела? Как дела?
Yes, that's what I said. Cock dealer.
Как дела? Yeah, thank you.
Because you're not a native in Russian, he won't understand you.
Все отлично. Все отлично.
So geez,
Everything is
I
okay.
tried, participation points.
That's not bad, actually, not bad. And Just a little bit more practice and you'll
Yes.
do. Do you
Clearly,
learn
I'm not a
Russian?
babushka. I'm
Do you
not a
learn Russian?
Yeah, very little. See, one of my friends married a woman from Kazakhstan, so we pick up a little bit of Russian from him. They named their cat something like, hold on, let me tell you what they named their cat, and it's such a strange name. The translation's also weird. I'm gonna have to see what they named their cat.
A name of a cat.
The cat, yeah, Unikosha. Unikosha.
Oh wow,
Unikosha.
Andy's here. Oh, you haven't met Andy, have you, Zannie?
No, Unikosha. What does that mean? Doesn't that mean cute
Andy is the
unicorn?
one who knows that who knows all. Who knows all. Yeah.
I
Talking
don't know
about
what is
cats.
Unikosha.
Yeah,
I do not
Unikosha.
like a cat because I am allergic to cat fur.
You're allergic to cat fur, so you can't get a cat.
When a cat near next to me, I will be caught if a cat is next to me. Cough like that. If a
Oh,
cat
you will
next,
cough. Yeah, it's an allergic reaction from the hair. You're sensitive to the hair. You know, there's things you can do to your animal. I think it's called giving it, making it hypoallergic. So that means that the fur doesn't bother you, but that costs money. I don't know if Vietnamese people do that. They do it for their dogs and their cats. They make them hypoallergic. So I went to my friend's house, and I also am sensitive to dogs. And I'm like, can you take the dog away from me? I'm allergic. I'm allergic. And she's like, no, it's not going to say anything. It's hypoallergic. And then the dog tried being my friend. How many people do we have so far? Where's Grant at?
Well, it looks like Chris is joining us and Andy.
Hello, Chris.
Hello, Chris.
Forgive me if I don't give you a formal introduction. There's just people coming in.
Grant just invited me, so I came on. It's 5 a.m. here where I am, and I don't sleep anymore.
Hey, Chris, where in the States are you from? You're from the States, right?
Yeah, I'm in Washington State on the Pacific
Washington.
Coast.
Okay, got it.
Ooh,
Okay.
it's earlier for you that it's 4:54. You're an hour behind me. I'm in northern Canada in the west side.
Originally, she was planning on doing the class about 9 p.m. Vietnam time, but she messaged and said, "Hey, I'm awake. Let's do it now." I'm like,
Do it. Get
"Okay,
her
but
done.
I don't know how many we're gonna get." So you got a group. So Zannie, you are live on YouTube as well. I put you live on my channel, so
Yay.
you can introduce yourself, or people can ask questions. Or D, I'm sure
Yeah,
you'll
are
want to
people allowed
interview
to
her someday,
comment?
but it doesn't have to be your YouTube thing. But you could ask her some questions that maybe students who want to learn English want to know, just to kind of let people know about Teacher Zannie. And Andy, I know, is in here, but he may be busy juggling his two kids. Andy, can you hear us? I want to make sure that you're a co-host. Just
Awesome. Sounds wonderful.
This is Zannie.
Yes, yes.
Where is your city? Where do you live? Which city? What is name?
Oh, the city is called Fort McMurray. It is in northern Alberta. It's famous for its oil. Let me just share my screen so I can talk a little more about where I'm from. So here's Facebook. Yay, you guys are all saying hi, browsing through my screen. But this is the city where I'm from. It is called Fort McMurray. So it is a urban service area. I have no idea what that means, but it's located in the northeast Alberta. So the only thing, it's a small town, but the only thing it's really famous for is oil. We have oil plants. And so people just extract oil, work on jobs that extract oil, and that's why we live here. If there was no oil, we wouldn't have anybody living here. So
you're the Texas of Canada.
Yes, we are. Albertans are considered the Texans of Canada. Yes, we're the economic people.
Mm-hmm.
We're what do you call like the front engine of a train? Locomotive or something, right? We're like the engine. That's what they call
Right,
us.
you're the engine that it makes. I just live south of Canada, so I have Canadian family, and I used to have family in Edmonton and in Calgary and everything. So I'm familiar with the Western provinces quite a bit. So
Yeah.
yeah.
We
So
actually have
we were
okay,
just like brother and sister, you know. Just I'm just south of the border from you, so I get along
you
with
should
my.
just drive up when the borders open, but then you'll have to drive like 9
No, but I grew up. I'm 63, but I grew up. You know, I grew up on Canadian culture as much as American culture. So
Are we
you know.
different? Do we sound different? I had people tell us that like
No. I know the politics and you know the food and my wife is French Canadian, so I'm having a lot. I'm kind of it's fun.
all in good fun. So small fact about our city in Fort McMurray is that in 2016 we had wildfires. You guys know what wildfires are?
You had a lot of fire going through your area of your province, area of your country, and it was very devastating. And I cried a lot about it. But yes, there are the pictures, and I remember it well.
I remember the evacuation. It's traumatizing for us to discuss it now because we also had the floods that happened in May, and I was part of the emergency responding. What I did was I arranged shelter for evacuees. But yeah, this was a natural disaster that really took a big toll on our city, as in it burned down, so we had to restart.
Wow.
But we have participants. Yeah. So if I can show you guys now, I can show you some of the burned trees. They never recovered. They're still burned. And I don't know if you can see it from this window, but definitely from my upstairs window, can you see some of like the burned trees? I think Grant's seen it. Grant, you've seen the view, right?
Yeah, you showed me how late it was and how much daylight there was.
So these are the fires. The whole highway was on fire, and we only had one casualty, which was because of a car accident. Nobody died because they burned in the fires. And that was all because everybody responded well in time. So that's a little bit about my city. Then the most recent one we had were the 2020 flood.
Yeah.
This happened right on May. I can't remember the date. It was the day of I was very busy that day. And then I just heard there was a flood. So that I just went and then arranged for shelter for evacuees. And I was actually helping out at a center. They made a separate shelter for people who had symptoms of COVID-19. So what we had to do was sort of arrange a separate area for them and find for them a place to spend the night in and provide emotional support. So even with this one, there were no casualties, as in nobody lost their lives because of these natural disasters, which is common. So we're very lucky in that sense. So yeah, that's all I have to say really about Fort McMurray. It's a town for oil.
Dangerous place, actually.
Sorry?
It is very dangerous place. You have fire,
It's dangerous,
and
but it's
flood.
yeah. People move here with the intention of leaving. It's considered like a gas station. That's like the slang term for it. So you know how you go on a journey and then you have to go and stop at a gas station to get some gas, and then you go somewhere else, continue on your journey.
It would be a petrol stop, for our British language users, a petrol stop.
Yeah, that's what they call this city. They call it a gas stop or a pit stop. You stop here for 5 or 10 years, get enough money, and then you go to a bigger city. But I've grown up here. I moved here in 2010, and then I left in 2014, and I came back. And so now I live here. So that's a little bit about me. I also go to school in Saskatoon, which is in central Canada. Let me show you my university. It's top U15, but it's called the University of Saskatchewan. It's a nice university. It's very what's the term I'm looking for? It has like a lot of like old buildings and stuff. Not as old as U of T, but like Western Canada, you know, it was populated later than Eastern Canada, so it's like a little hotspot, and it's becoming more of an international booming place because the tuition fees are lower than the other universities.
We call it the here in North America, we call it the prairies.
Yes, spot on. The prairies, because of the land. People say it's flat.
Yeah, I live in the prairies landscape. Mhm.
Isn't it nice?
I live.
Especially in the evening time. I really like prairie landscape in the evening. Anywho, I've been talking so much. Does anybody have any questions? This is a Q&A.
Yeah, so you guys, if you know what a Q&A is, you guys can ask Teacher Zannie anything you want to
Teacher
ask
Zannie.
her. Like, yeah. Oh, Erdi knows. Go for it, Erdi.
How long? How long?
Shut up.
Do you teach English? Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Zannie, hello.
Zannie?
She's
Zannie
frozen.
picture's frozen.
Yeah. I was like,
No,
uh,
Dr. Webb is muted.
Dr.
No,
Webb.
no. What about now?
Zannie's picture is frozen.
Are you able to listen to me? My voice
Well,
is
she'll figure it
audible?
out. Yeah, she'll come back. Don't worry. She'll come. Oh, she's back. Okay.
What did I miss? Who said what about me? was the-
Erti was asking you a question, then he had the most puzzled look like you didn't understand what he was saying. So, but it was because you're frozen. So go ahead, Erdi. You can ask away.
Teacher Zannie, how long do you teach English?
How long? I've been teaching it
Yeah.
for over 3 years now. I started in 2017, back when there were huge companies like Palfish and Q-Kids. And when I first started, and they were actually hiring university students. That's what got me lured into it. They were like, okay, if you're doing your studies on the side, you can teach English. And the thing is, you don't have to clock in at work. So you can just teach from the comfort of your home early in the morning to Chinese students. And that's where I've jumped on board. And so far I've done 3 years and I've been with so many different companies, gained so much experience. And I've taught from kindergarten all the way to business English.
You're cutting in and out, Teacher Zannie. Or is it me? I don't know if it's me or.
Am I cutting?
You're going into the neighbors got angry and cut your internet.
I turned on my data.
Is it
I'm not using
just me
Wi-Fi
or?
anymore. See, do you guys see that? That little blue thing, that means I'm using my hotspot. Am I cutting? Chris says no, but everybody's muted. What's going on?
I'm just being Canadian and polite at the same time.
So am I cutting in? I mean, am I cutting?
No, you're doing fine.
Okay, perfect. Cool. Yeah, I turned on my hotspot because my Wi-Fi was giving me trouble. Time to rack up my cell phone bill. What were you saying, Erdi?
I'm interested in what are you going to do on Web Talk. Maybe it would be regular lessons or maybe just discussions from time to time.
I'm aiming for that, yeah. I'm aiming for something regular and concise that everybody can enjoy. Maybe tea time, something like that. You know what I mean? To have like an hour in a week where we just hang out, lounge around, and talk about different things so we all get better at speaking English. And right now we have such a little melting pot. We have Vietnam, we have Russia, we have the States, and we have half China. Where's Grant? Is Grant gone? I'm teasing him.
From around the world. We have Bangla, India, and
Yeah.
France, Italy.
This is
There
becoming
are a
like
lot.
the new Facebook, I see. People are socializing more on this. They say it's a mix of Facebook and LinkedIn, but I see it more as a socializing website than I see it as a professional connections website, if that makes any sense.
I agree totally. And
I have questions for you guys. What do you guys do on Web Talk? I'm here for English and exposure.
I joined to practice English, and it was pleasure for me. First time to find myself in front of the several native speakers, but actually I'm not very strict to changing for native speakers, and of course it is really useful. But besides, there are a lot of non-native teachers, and it is actually also very useful for me. But of course, native speakers are kind of high level, kind of test.
Yes, because they're born and
Yeah.
bred speaking the language. That's all they know.
Exactly.
Just born and raised speaking English. For us, if you ever go to do an English exam, if you're born and raised, you get 1 hour to do it. And if you're not, if English is your second or third language, you get double the time. Grants back. So let's say if there's an exam. Sorry?
It's a good thing to have different English speakers, because I've lived in Europe and I've lived here in America, and I'm familiar with Canadian English. And so it's good to have a variety of whether it's specific Asian English or African English or Indian English or whatever. It is good to be exposed to all different types of English out there.
Yeah, and I feel like different cultures have made a different version of their own English. So for example, since I talk a lot with Indian people and Pakistani people, they use the word fellow a lot. We don't say fellow. We don't say, hey, look at this fellow that often as they say it. Yesterday I talked with this fellow.
Who says
and
fellow?
blah, 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 blah. They say fellow so often, and they say dear a lot. DEAR.
Oh, you're talking not I thought you were talking in America. It's like I've never said the word fellow before.
No.
But
It's
yeah,
not
I see a lot of dear or
dear fellow. Terms like that. Like it seems like they learned it from a book, and it seems like it's old English. I feel like people use dear and fellow like in the 1800s or 1700s, and somehow when they went to do from England to India, they're just like, okay, we'll keep these two words and use them in everyday language.
It's from High English, from the colonial times, and I'm sort of an amateur English historian, so I understand where the roots come from. So it's fascinating what happens all over the world.
Yeah, I used to get tutored for physics or chemistry with an Indian guy straight from India because he charged less. And I was like, okay, I want more classes and more exposure to physics because it wasn't making much sense to me at the time. So one day I got a message from him and he sends me, I'm out of STN. Like he just puts 3 letters, STN. And I'm like, what is that? What does out of STN mean? I Googled it and it means I'm out of station. And that's when you say, when you leave the city, I'm out of station. I never said that. I always say I'm out of town.
Yeah, that really gets me when they are very lazy and write 3 letters for one word. And even Chris and Zannie, when we shorten our English, it's more for example, like before, we'll just write the letter B and the number 4. You know, like text language. When you write like that, it's really meant for texting or casual conversation.
And even that texting that has like the nine keys where you had to like stab 3 letters for one letter. Remember those days when you didn't have a keyboard on your phone and you had to there and literally go through letter by letter. You guys remember that era? It wasn't that far. It was 10 years ago.
I'm an old-fashioned English speaker because I'm not a texter, and I'm 63, so I still hold to complete words most of the time. So, but I'm adaptable to all slangs and different ways of speaking English.
We should do a slangs class where we just
I
teach
think
slang.
the students would love that. I kind of did something like that. I kind of did something called fast English, and what I mean by that is when we're speaking, Chris, if you think about it, it's like playing music. When we're speaking, it's music. When we say I'm going to the store,
I'm going to the
you
store.
hear how quickly I said I'm going to the store, right? We don't say I'm going to the store, right, Chris? If you think about it,
it depends on who I talk with or speak with, because when I talk to my family overseas, I talk differently than when I talk to people where I live. Because, for example, my nieces and nephews, they speak twice as fast as I do because I'm in my 60s, and I speak like from the time when I was growing up. And the younger people now, because they like to text on their phones, they speak twice as fast as I do.
Yeah, they take shortcuts for everything.
Shortcuts all the time. So I speak slowly because that's how I learned.
I can't say the same for myself. I speak very fast when I'm like literally arguing, or when I'm like talking to one of my friends over the phone. Yeah, it gets really, really fast sometimes. And sometimes we're very lazy. We're about to say, instead of saying I'm about to leave and get something, I'll say like I'm about to dip. Automatically, the other person knows what I mean.
Well, my mother is almost 95, and she always corrected my grammar, and my father did too because he was a professor. So it is always in my head to speak clearly as much as possible, because, or they'll say inside my head, do it right.
Yeah, there's this saying, or like, I don't know if you know about memes. There's this meme that says something about like my customer service voice went to Harvard. That's how clearly some people speak sometimes.
Well, I was in customer service for a couple of years, and that seemed to stick. Means that I keep on talking that way. Stick is, I guess, the slang for I keep on doing it.
Went to Harvard.
Yeah, actually, I quite often hear this word from Scott Gerard. He's telling, stick around this and we'll continue watching this video.
Stick around?
Kind of. Yeah.
Stick around. Means
Scott, yeah.
Stay.
Yeah. I mean, basically, short and sweet means stay. And the more lengthy, boring way, stick around means like, give me a moment and.
That's what stick around means.
Like stick with me, or stick around, or another word is stuff like that.
Stick to the plan.
You got a kid that's joining now. Teacher Zannie, Rose.
I have a
question.
Hey
Rose, how are you? People say that often when you're like trying to change, like let's say I'm trying to change or alter a recipe for cooking, and people will just say, no, stick to the plan, stick to the recipe. That means follow it as is.
Yeah.
Stick to it means follow it.
I've recently heard interesting expression, interesting phrasal verb, a fuck cry. Can I say when someone shared with any ideas, and maybe I'm a little bit agree with him, and I may say, oh, my opinion is not a far cry from his vision, and
A far cry?
Far cry,
This
yes.
would be
Far
good.
cry.
Would
Okay.
be good.
I
No,
almost
he's not.
thought I heard
Okay,
something differently.
No, he said
but-
he said far cry.
Not
Far
a far
cry. Okay. I was hearing something that I'm afraid YouTube would censor me for. It sounded very.
I know. I have a good ear for foreign accents, so
Okay.
I can translate it
far
easily.
cry. Yeah, so
I
that
won't.
means
I
Thank
won't
you.
say the word I thought you said, Erdi, for censorship with YouTube. But I thought you said what 2-year-olds say when they say the word truck. Just say that in your head. What rhymes with truck? I'll tell you
there's
later,
something that
Erdi.
rhymes with duck. Let's go with that.
Duck.
Duck.
We have a child here, so we have to be very careful. Far cry. Far cry.
Far cry.
Cry.
Far-
Yes.
What is far cry? What do you mean by far cry, Erdi?
Well, it's basically said when your opinion or what you're saying isn't far off from what somebody else. So you'll say that like it isn't a far cry for him. Where it comes from, I think, is Australia. The natives in Australia, they live on ranches that are very distant from one another. So if you say that it's not a far cry, that means that like your neighbor isn't that far away from you.
Mm-hmm.
As they can be, because you know how life is on ranches where you have like people living very far away from one another. So
Well,
it's basically staying in agreement.
Right. It's also common in rural areas, like in the middle of America or middle of Canada. So it's been used in my lifetime exact same. So it's also here in North America.
Hold on 1 second, you guys.
It's used more to
I'll be
say
right
that
back.
like
Can I
it's
use
used
it?
more to say like
i-
go ahead.
Can I use it in figuratively meaning?
Yes.
Yes.
Figuratively meaning. Yes. Oh.
Yes, you can use it
If
figuratively.
if someone say something and I can say, oh, your vision is not far cry from my opinion. Yeah. Is it good?
Mhm.
Thank you.
You can say it like usually what people use it more to say is how far something is. They'll say here's an example. The apartment they live in now is a far cry from the huge mansion they once used to have. So it's how different one thing is from another.
Like distance. It's a like distance. It's so different than what I used to have.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So an apartment is very different from a mansion. So you'll say it's a far cry. Very different.
Different
so there's
is
a
a
huge
good way.
gap. There's a huge gap, you know, with the different levels of housing. You have apartment, you have condos, you have suburban townhouses, which are my favorite. And then you have semi-detached houses, then you have single houses, then you have mansions. So if you look at the different levels, you look at the difference in them, that makes a sort of distance, if that makes any sense. Does that make sense?
That's the best usage right there. It's what we're talking about right now. When you want to use far cry, this is the best way of using it.
Here's another one. He is a great player, but it is time for him to retire. His recent performances are a far cry from what they used to be during his peak years. So what he used to be versus what he is now caused some time difference. Maybe he aged, maybe he didn't practice. And so therefore, his skills now versus then are a far cry.
Thank you.
I hope that helps.
I hope that helped, Eric. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I hope I'm
very
explaining
helpful.
well. You know, this is my field. It'd be a shame if I can't teach English. And I'm advertising to be an English teacher.
It was well explained because I hadn't even really heard of the term far cry.
It's very old.
Talking.
It's very
It's not
old.
used that often. And it's used more in rural areas. Like, you know how small folk use it? Use words that are like idioms that are very different.
It's been used in my generation. I'm in my 60s, but I haven't heard it used by younger people a lot. But in my youth, we used it a lot more than now.
Mm-hmm. Because how language changes and evolves, I guess. Anybody else have any different questions they want to ask? One person can keep asking if they want. I don't mind. I'm enjoying this time.
Hey, Rose. Rose, do you want to ask Teacher Zannie any questions?
Hi, Rose. How are you? Trying to find her.
I'm trying to unmute so she can say hello.
She's just moving her camera around.
Yeah, she's probably needs help unmuting. I'm trying to unmute her.
We have to ask. We can't.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to get her to be unmute. Oh, did she leave? Oh, come on, Rose.
No. She's second last now. She used to be last. Hey guys, we're doing a Q&A. Feel free to ask any questions. We have 12 people in the meeting so far. I wonder how our YouTube live is doing. I don't have the link.
Oh, we won't get viewers on YouTube, but we'll get viewers in Web Talk on YouTube. So we'll get those views.
Anybody have any questions about English, Canada, Western life, anything?
Rose, you're unmuted. Very good. Rose, hello. Rose.
Hello.
Rose. Why can't I spotlight you? Rose, you want to say hello to Teacher Zannie?
Hi, Rose.
Hmm.
We see the top of your head.
Yeah, her camera's on. It's not off, but there's a delay.
We see her, I think, and you can get out of the speaker mode if you want. If you would rather have the gallery mode on, I was just testing out the little Web Talk functions. So let's see. We have 13 people here. So you guys can all sit in silence, but we're here for Teacher Zannie. She is a newish, not really newish, but she's getting into Web Talk to teach classes, and she just wanted to do a Q&A.
Introducing me, getting her feet wet. Who can tell me what that means?
Getting her feet wet.
What does it mean?
Getting your feet wet is like when you want to go into a swimming pool or a body of water, but you're doing it very slowly. So you just put your feet in first without the rest of your body going in because you're not used to it yet. So getting your feet wet is meaning that, well, I'm just doing it slowly or getting started.
Testing the waters, you can say.
Testing the waters is another one.
It's basically testing the temperature. When you go to a swimming pool, do you just jump cannonball into it, or do you check the temperature first?
Chris,
I've done it before. I literally have done it before because I knew that if I tested the water and it was really cold, I'd run out. So I said, you know what? I know it's going to be really, really cold.
Can you type it in the chat?
You should have an option to type in the chat. Yes. There's no security that doesn't allow chat.
I would like
Go for it. All right. Someone
there
said
we go.
hello.
I typed it in. Yeah, I've done. I've been in water with my whole body, but that's because somebody had drenched the platform of the body of water at the swimming pool, and I was just blindly walking, and I didn't have my glasses on, so I literally slipped and dunked first into the water. Like I literally slipped into the swimming pool. Usually what I do is I test out the water. I use the stairs that, help you go down. Let's just look at a swimming pool.
I once lost my glasses in the surf when I was body surfing when I lived in Hawaii when I was 12, and my dad found my glasses in the next wave because my vision was 2400 at that time. So I lucked out.
Oh, that's a bummer. But were glasses expensive back in those days? Because now they're
Yeah,
like,
well, I mean, I was nearly blind, but now I see much better. But
You guys named 3 terms: getting one's feet wet, testing the waters, and what was the other one? You guys said 3 things.
let's see.
the one we said before, the Far Cry.
No. Getting my feet wet, testing the waters, testing the
Thank you.
temperature. No, that wasn't the phrase.
That's
No,
not even a phrase. That's what you have
I know.
to do.
That's why I stopped myself. So I think it was just 2 idioms there. Testing the
But yes, that's
waters,
where I slipped.
getting my feet wet means to go slowly, to try something, to go slowly, or
another way of saying is cautious, being cautious.
being cautious. Not so much an idiom, but a straight statement is being
correct.
cautious.
Yeah.
Cautious.
That's what I'm doing
Gosh.
on Web Talk. I am testing the waters. I'm getting my feet wet. I'm just trying to learn and see what's going on.
Another term is being conservative.
Yes, and that
Or
means
taking it
Not so much
easy.
being conservative. I wouldn't say being conservative and testing the waters are the same thing.
Similar. Conservative means
Similar.
like okay, for example, like if you make a lot of money, but you say you're being conservative, it means that you're not spending a lot of money. So it's similar, maybe not so much the same. I actually recognize
I'm
that
thinking
for
more
sure.
about being conservative versus being liberal in terms of like your lifestyle. Like you can say,
Yeah,
I live
that's
a
what
conservative
everyone
lifestyle
that's just
because I live a
stereotypically
very
think
liberal
conservative
lifestyle.
being, but really being, but the idiomatic phrase of being conservative is like uh saving or only doing a little bit at a time.
Doing the bare
If
minimum.
you
Yeah.
have, um, if you have 2 weeks of holiday in Hawaii, you're going to be conservative and not do a lot in one day. You're going to take your time to do
You
everything
don't want to get sunburned, so you're conservative about being out in the sun.
Yeah,
When
there you
people
go.
won't be conservative when they win the lottery in Vegas.
Yeah.
I highly
Teacher
doubt it. I
Zannie.
feel like people are gonna go crazy when that happens.
Rose, you froze, or that is your.
Teacher
Did you
Zannie.
get
Sounds
that,
your.
Ernie?
Oh,
When
no,
I
you're
say I
back.
won the
Okay.
lottery
Yeah.
in Vegas,
I-
do you know what Vegas is
I
famous for?
Sorry.
Do you know what Las Vegas is famous for?
Las Vegas. Yeah, I know. There are a lot of casino. It is the city of casino.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
Casino.
and
Casino.
gambling.
Is
So-
it correct?
careful,
Casino.
teachers, Annie. PG.
Oh yes, for Rose.
Well, not only for that, but YouTube's also really sketchy. They get picky, and my channel that I actually wanted to go live on about a month and a half ago. People can report your channels, so my channel got reported for inappropriate things, and I'm like, I was reading stories to children. I don't know what was inappropriate about that.
We're gonna have to not talk about that, but just say lottery. I guess lottery. That's when people won't be conservative when they win the lottery.
Yeah.
Or a slang for lottery, like in Canada, United States, we could say lotto.
Lotto, yeah.
Lotto is more people use the word lotto to talk about the actual brand. There's the Lotto 649, Lotto Max, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an established brand for lotteries. How much do lottery tickets cost? Are you guys allowed to play?
$1. I don't know if it's changed in the States, has it, Chris?
No, in the States it's lottery tickets, but in Canada it's lotto.
Lotto Max.
Lotto 649 and whatever. But in the States we do call them lotto tickets. We call them lotto tickets here in the States.
How much do they cost, Chris? Are they still $1? Are they still $1?
Yeah, but most of the stuff now is digital. So you have digital machines, and it's less paper. But
yeah.
Each state has or province in Canada, they have lotteries that will help fund schools and other things in government. But what is different now is that a lot of Native American, which means all Native American tribes in North America, most of them on federal land or their own land, they have casinos where many people now go to gamble. And my father used to call it voluntary taxation, where people lose their money. They could go to the casinos and lose their money and give it to the native peoples so they could, do whatever they want. So it's when I was growing up, the only place that we could go and gamble to the casino was Las Vegas, Nevada, or anywhere in Nevada, or to Atlantic City. But then all of a sudden, all the Native American communities on the reservations decided to have another term for gambling we call now is more appropriate name is called gaming, because people don't want to talk about they don't want to talk about it as gambling. They want to talk about it as gaming.
Mm-hmm.
So, but now sports gambling or sports gaming has become legal in the United States in many places. So when you want to, you can watch sports now, but then you can put money, there's another term, put money on a team or a game, which is another form of gambling or gaming. You put money. You put
this
money.
team is gonna win. I'll bet $50 that this team is gonna win the next one, or win the playoffs, or win the cup, or something like that.
Right.
You basically follow the stat for it, if that makes sense.
Put money on it.
Money on it.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah. That's like, you have to tell the truth, right? You put your money where your mouth is. Telling the truth.
Put your money where your mouth is?
Yeah.
It means to spend what you earn in terms of don't waste it on other things. Know your priorities.
Right.
It's
Be
usually
concise.
When people go to Vegas, they'll say, don't go to Vegas, put your money where your mouth is, as in know where your priorities are instead of wasting money on gambling or other things. Put your money where your mouth, because you eat with your mouth, if that makes sense. But yeah, I didn't know sports gambling was illegal in the States. I've never heard it being illegal in Canada, but now it doesn't matter because everything's canceled because of COVID-19. Olympics canceled, NBA canceled, NHL canceled.
Yeah. Jerry, have you heard put your money where your mouth is? Have you heard that before, Jerry? Or Beichigong, Hong Rose was never heard it, probably just a child. Rose, you can ask your mother, Mom, do you know what to put your money where your mouth is? Does she know? No, I think she's smiling. It's like, what? Money mouth?
No, don't start eating the bills. That's what I thought it meant.
Actually, there's actually a riddle, you guys. Rich people have it, poor people need it, but if you eat it, you will die.
Money.
Yeah. I can be fast and slow and change any shape or form. It's change into any shape or form. I'm sure there's more to that riddle, but I can't remember it all. I can be fast and slow. I can be tall or short. I can be long, or I can be big, or I can be big or small, long and short, round or square. I can turn into any shape that I see. What am I? Shadow. Shadow. Uh-oh. Nope, I'm out. Okay. For some reason, I thought you guys were frozen, but I see Rose's hair moving, so I know it's not me. A shadow. That's the answer.
Yeah.
A shadow can be big or small. I forget the exact riddle. I just saw the riddle, but I can't say what the riddle was.
Shuttle?
Yeah, the answer is shadow.
I haven't heard it for 50
I'm hearing
years.
shuttle. I'm hearing shuttle, you know, like
Shadow.
shadow.
I can be big or small, long or short. I can transfer to I can transform to any shape I see. I can be fast or slow, or something like that. And the answer is shadow.
That is close.
I can't think of the exact riddle to it. I have to.
That's very close to it. I haven't heard it for 50 years.
Yeah. Let me see.
The one that I know about shadows is I can live when there is light, but I die when there is darkness. The answer is shadow.
And another tie to money where your mouth is, that money is the root of all evil. Root it's like a root is like something into the ground. It's like food, growing out of the ground. So
root as in the cause.
The cause, yeah.
The source. Maybe source is a better word. The source of all evil is money. But if you didn't have any, you'd still be evil because you'll still be striving for it.
But it's interesting to use the word root for cause, because root to me sounds like something in the ground that holds the plant in place or something, but they use it in a different way here. Root is a cause instead.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense why I say root, because how the flower or whatever plant you have, how it comes into existence is with the seed, and the seed has the root. You can even say money is the seed of all evil.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about cause. It's like literally the first thing, the original source, I guess. What are the slang terms you guys use for money? We can say gotta make that bread, gotta make
dough.
Dough. So dough. Bread, dough, scratch.
The green stuff. Because why do they call it green stuff?
But that's irrelevant these days because most people don't know what a toonie or a loony is, or a coin or a bill.
We follow your mint with American bills being green in color. We have monopoly money.
Right. We call your money monopoly. We call euros, euro bills, English bills. Most bills are different colors, but now our
currency.
Call them in the old days. We used to call it lettuce because it was just green.
So you literally say you got some lettuce. You got some lettuce.
You got some lettuce. Oh, that's very old because our greenbacks, because our money green.
I heard dough and bread, and one of my friends was telling me that her sister told her she's gonna be stacking bread for the summer, and I thought she was gonna work at a local bakery.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was the first time I heard it. She was like, my sister is gonna be stacking bread this summer. I'm like, yeah, cool. She'll be at the local bakery, loading up shelves, but that's not what it means. Stacking bread just means making a lot of money.
Or rolling in dough.
Rolling in dough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
what's the
I feel like we're the only three people talking. Others who are here, Dao Hong. You always are reading my stories. Dao Hong.
Are y'all flies on the wall?
Yeah.
Who can tell me what that means?
Hello.
You're a fly on the wall.
I know you're always in my classes, Dao Hong. You can introduce yourself to Zannie or ask Teacher Zannie some questions about teaching. She's from Canada. You can ask her some questions and she'll answer them for you. Can you hear me now, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know how to introduce myself.
Say something about where you're from and your favorite fruit.
Oh, where you're from, your favorite food.
I'm like obsessed with asking people that, like, what is your favorite fruit?
Food. Your favorite food, Dalhong?
Fruit.
Food.
Maybe
Fruit.
strawberry. I don't
Yeah.
know.
They're in season
Oh,
now.
strawberries, they sound good. They're out of season though, aren't they? Or gonna be out of
Yeah, they're
season.
in season now.
Won't they be out of season shortly or?
No, for us, they just got in. We have strawberry fields where you go and pick out your own
Oh, maybe they do
strawberries.
just get in. That's
You
right. They
buy
come in during the summer, huh? And watermelon.
watermelon, strawberries. What else? What else? I'm more into exotic fruits. Like I like mangoes and lychees and stuff like that. And I'm always on the hunt for that, even though they're crazy expensive here. To get them up in the north, especially from like South American countries, like lychees. I don't know if you guys know what lychees are, but those are so
I love them very much. I love lychees very much.
You and I can become like best friends because I could go through like baskets of them. But I just don't like the seed. I hate the seed. As soon as I crunch into the seed, it's so bitter. That's my favorite, but I still don't know which color is better. Is it the pink color that's the better one, or is it the dark tan one? Why don't we just show what lychees look like?
Go for it. Lychees are okay. I'm not a huge fan.
What I
They're
also
okay.
don't like is pomegranate. I hate pomegranate.
Oh, I love pomegranates.
And that's because it's always so crunchy that it hurts my teeth and gets stuck in between my teeth. Like it's such a chore to eat them. What does it mean if I say it's a chore to do something?
Does it grow in Canada?
These? No, these don't grow in Canada. Nah. We have very restrictive temperatures. Canada is best known for its.
But do you have this one at the store? Are you able to buy it at the store?
It's expensive though. It's like $7 a pound, something like that.
Wow,
It's a
$7.
luxury for us. Yeah. But this is what Canada is known for.
Yay!
We literally learn how to extract the syrup from the trees at a very young age. So they take us on field trips to go to fields of maple trees where we can literally, so the way maple syrup is extracted is you open the bark of a tree and put a bucket and the syrup comes out of it. It comes from maple trees. Do you guys see that? You have like hundreds and hundreds of tea trees with buckets on them, and that's how you extract the maple syrup.
Maple syrup. Ah.
It's a breakfast food. You put it on your pancakes. It's a syrup. It's like, what other things are there? Honey. It's like honey, basically.
But
And
it's hard to find natural syrup sometimes because most syrup you find can be manufactured. It's made by factories, so you have to find pure maple syrup, either type A or type B, and they cost a lot more money than the cheap syrup you get at most stores.
I never heard that maples have syrup.
Maple
have syrup.
That's what's on our flag. We're such fans of it that we literally put this tree leaf on our flag. People in the
Is
West.
Is it delicious?
It's really good. If you want, I can send some to you. I don't mind sending a package over.
Now
with the shipping prices now, as thoughtful and kind as you are, you probably want to wait a few months.
Oh, actually,
shipping is.
Trust me.
Huh?
Now that the Canadian flag changed to its present flag when I was 10 years old in 1967. So before that, it had a Union Jack on the upper corner, and it was kind of red with a crest in the middle of it. So the Canadian flag before its 100th birthday, there it is. That's the Canadian flag I remember as a kid.
The Union Jack is the British flag for Wales, Scotland, all of those. Now we have different flags. Even America's states have this, where different states have different flags.
Mm-hmm.
But we wave our province flags a lot here. Like if you're in Saskatchewan, which is where I go to university, it's a different province than where I am currently. You'll see that flag being waved around quite often.
Yeah.
And each of them shows a little bit about the area there. So the one here, I don't know if you can see me zoomed in, Alberta, that has mountains and fields, because that's what it's known for.
Yep.
The mountains are right on the edge. They're called the Rockies. And we have a little bit of cornfields because that's our prominent crop. Corn. Or not corn, barley. I don't think it's corn. And then Saskatchewan is just known for its wildflowers. And this yellow part is supposed to be canola. It's known for its canola. Canola is a plant that you use oil for. You guys are learning so much about Canada. This is canola right here.
Yeah.
It's a whole industry. So now that we're working more towards a greener initiative, we're using this oil more to power things. That's what's being researched right now in our agriculture sector. Canola oil powering things. It's a biofuel. People are researching that. But I don't know. I don't feel like I'm a fan of this color. It hurts my eyes. When I'm like staring out at a bus and it's a bright sunny day and there's like yellow on the ground, I literally have to put on my sunglasses or I'll go blind.
It's not a very healthy oil to consume by humans, so it's better to use it in industry or something instead. So
that's what's being more researched into for canola oil for industry purposes. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend a lot of this oil. It's like vegetable oil. Like olive oil, you know, has a prominent taste to it. Almond oil also has a very prominent taste. Castor oil also has a taste. Canola oil, you don't really taste the canola, I guess. It's just heavy.
Most people use canola oil or vegetable oil still because it has very little taste. It's not very good for humans, but people use it anyway.
For the taste, yeah. I use vegetable oil, but I use very little of it, or I use a cooking spray. But also, I'm not a fan of olive oil because of how bitter it is, or coconut oil. I've cooked with coconut oil before.
Olive oil is different. The more expensive olive oil you buy, the better it is, and it has a better taste.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends.
If it's pure.
Right.
Pure olive oil, because
or filtered many times.
Yeah, it's cheaper if it's not filtered, as in there's still other stuff into it. People always look for pure things. Just like diamond.
Hey, teacher Zannie, we have another student that just arrived. Well, one of my students. Maybe he joined yours as well. I don't know. I'm sure you want to cater more toward the adults. He really wanted to join. Ming, hello. Ming
Hi.
Talk. He won't be social. There you go. Ming, can you show your video? Is that okay? Or are you nervous to see a new teachers? I think the kids are just used to seeing me.
We don't bite.
One parent's like, she's not used to seeing so many teachers. They're just used to seeing me. Then I bring in another teacher and they don't want to say anything. They'll talk to me, but they don't want to talk to anyone else. I don't know what's wrong with that. So Oh, Zannie, Chris, I have a really, really funny story. So I'm in China, right? So I was coming home one evening and it was dusk. So it was kind of getting dark, right? And there's a chow sure, there's a little market outside the gate before I go inside to my apartments. I was just about to go in and get my tea. And this little girl, I swear, she did not look 2 years old, but she was walking, small girl. She ran right up to me and like took my hand. And I'm like, and I was like, because sometimes I don't recognize the kids at my school. It's like, I don't recognize her. I do my best for facial, like, I was like, and then her mother looked at me and smiled and, oh no, I'm like, okay. And it's like, oh, go back to your mom. And I came out, I had my drink. They're going through the gate. She took my hand again, the girl, just like grabbed my hand. And then there's a split way where we go one way to the houses, right? And she got angry. She didn't like angry, like kind of cryish angry, like, no, like I want to hold your hand still kind of attitude. She didn't want to let me go. Just, and I was learning that like the younger the kids are, especially at our, as we're older and stuff, like you don't want to talk, you don't want to like meet up with, like, you don't want to talk to like really young kids, especially if you're big and tall, and sadly if you're a guy, because you might look scary to them, but it's like the complete opposite for me. I have the complete opposite reaction. There we go. We got people doing the pool. Cool. Ming, what do you say hello to Zannie and introduce yourself?
How goes your world? That's another way of saying how are you?
How goes your world, Ming?
How goes your world, your personal world? Or if you're very, very close and personal, you can ask, what's the weather like in Grantville?
Yeah.
Is it raining? Is it sunny?
So Ming, we have a new teacher here who's on Web Talk who will teach other classes and stuff. Why don't you ask her some questions? You can ask her some questions, Ming.
Anybody have any
Zannie?
questions?
Yeah, I have questions.
Oh,
Sometimes I use the word, the phrase little by little or gradually. But maybe there is something more useful, more popular word.
Just kind of take little by
Maybe
little,
phrase.
right? Doing something little
perhaps
by little.
little by little, gradually.
Yeah.
You can
There's
say
for
like
example,
take my time or take my time. I do things little by little. You can say, oh, I take my time for blah blah blah. I take my time.
take my time.
When
You can
I
say slowly
go,
but surely,
oh, slowly but surely.
step by step, inch by inch, day by day.
Have to.
Have
Okay.
to take up.
Got it.
To some extent, gradually is basically mean you do things in order, very, very slowly. It's usually used in cooking. You
Cautiously.
say add the milk gradually, stirring often. Add the milk gradually, stirring often to prevent lumps. And if you're like me and have zero patience, you'll just go to town. You'll just dump it all over and then be like, okay, what did I do?
Caillou. Is it Caillou? I can't pronounce the lady's name in the pink tank top. Ohen. Ming, how do you say her name? Caillou? Am I saying your name right? Caillou?
The opposite of gradually would be abruptly or suddenly.
Suddenly.
Yeah, that means just dumping it up, doing it quick and fast instead of slowly.
Oh, Ming. Okay, Ming's getting his headphones. No wonder why he couldn't talk. I see her mom running to get the headphones.
Oh, they're bolting. Bolt means run. Somebody has nice. Oh, that's Chris, I think. Yeah. His chair has like white flowers and a blue background. Isn't it
Yeah,
pretty?
he just informed us he has to step out for a moment. He'll be back. So he's showing her his pretty chair before he.
My chair is
Yes.
not that pretty. I'm jealous.
Ming, can you hear us now?
No.
Oh, we can't hear you. Okay.
I'm not muted, am I? I don't think I'm
No,
muted.
no, we hear you, Zannie. Ming is trying to talk, but we can't hear him.
All right. We've been doing this for a solid hour and a half now. I think it's time to call it a day. Do you guys have any
That's what you
last
wanna
minute
do.
questions?
You guys need to go to her. I'm gonna give it to you guys in Zoom. Please,
Yeah.
please, please go to
Teacher
Teacher
Zin.
Zannie's.
Zannie, teacher Zannie. How, what is your advice would be to practice phrasal verbs more often and confident, because it is difficult actually to
Yeah. Understand. So to
remember
practice
them all.
phrasal verbs, the thing is you need to have a specific situation you use them in. You can't use them all the time, right? Specific situations allow you to use phrasal verbs. So my advice would be to you can research. There's like lots of them on the internet. Phrasal verbs that are all over the place. There's like 100, thousands. Find ones you like, and it's usually a test. You should be testing when to use them, when it is appropriate, because that depends on every situation. But you can still attempt to use it. It's not impolite for using phrasal verbs. Even when you're in a wrong situation where it doesn't seem that appropriate. Like, for example, testing the waters. I don't think that'd be appropriate of saying that. When would it not be appropriate to say testing the waters? Let's say you're in a very hard situation. Like, let's say you are operating, what's the word I'm using here? A manual wet saw. You know, like a saw that you cut wood with? It might not be appropriate to say I'm testing the waters then when it's like a life and death situation, right?
True, but it's okay. It's okay to use it in an academic sense or a working environmental sense, like in an urban setting in a city. It's okay there, but when you deal with like you say, like in the forest or in certain applications geographically, it may not be appropriate.
Yeah, so that depends where it is, but even if you do use it, it's not the end of the world. It's not impolite. So it just depends on how and when you feel like using your favorite one. You can get obsessed with it, a specific idiom.
Variety is the spice of life. So the more different ways of saying things, the better. But take your time with it.
Yeah. Some of them I'm also not really a fan of, but I see other people using them. I'll give an example. I always hear people say these two things. And if you want to get on if you want to annoy me, I guess, because I don't really like it, I won't be mad at you. But if it's just triggering to me, like it's cringy. If you say, I'm pleased as punch and I'm as happy as a clam. Those two idioms just really get to me. They're not wrong. You can say, I'm happy as a clam when you're really, really happy. Or you can say, I'm pleased as punch when something really good happens to you, but that doesn't really vibe with me. I'm not a fan of it. Happy as a clam. Have you guys heard that before?
Well, I'm from the Pacific Northwest, so we learned to eat clams, so we used that a lot growing up, but that's just like in British Columbia or on the Pacific coast, we use that quite a bit.
Because you guys are seafood people.
Seafood
but yeah,
people.
it's a real hit or miss. I think that's what I'll say with phrasal verbs. It's a hit or miss. Either you get it or you don't, and then you move on from it. But you should be practicing what you learn all the time, irregardless of it, because you should be making mistakes to learn. That means you're learning. Before we go, I just want to say that in my next English topic, I'm going to be doing a discussion of popular English songs and what English we can learn from them. I don't know why I'm stuttering. It's because I'm hungry. When I'm hungry, I start stuttering. I'm like running low on fuel. But yeah, I'll be taking popular music from like the radio that you hear, you know, when you hear the English radio and stuff like that, especially in foreign countries with like famous singers. I'm going to be taking some of their songs and we're going to be diving in and in analyzing the English from it. So who are some of your favorite music artists? Do you guys have any favorite singers? Anyone want to perk up?
Oh,
I
there
think
are
they're
a
all
lot.
just nervous and just chit-chatting away. I mean, just listening to you chit-chat away. And they could also be busy too. Maybe they're just listening and just supporting.
Who's
But
your
it's
favorite band?
but I put in your web talk ID, and then what I'll do, and as you know, Teacher Tim will do, and or Dee will do, will promote your class, make sure others know about it, and we'll use the method that Teacher Toto's using with me, because you're under Trey May's husband's account, and they have a system which works really good. Yeah, so this is like boring stuff to the audience, but today I got 21K compared to last time. The day before I got 16K. And then today I got 21. So you probably got more points too as well. Did you check your points today? Did you see how it's rising? So that method's gonna work out. The method's gonna work really well. Hey Ming, before Teacher Zannie goes, it's your last time to chat. You're just sitting there like a duck.
Quack, quack. So yeah, anybody have their favorite English artist? So that's my next one that I'm planning. And if you guys have any topics or stuff like that that you want to discuss, be sure to go to my post and comment and let me know what this type of content you want to see so I can prepare something.
Hey Ming, what kind of music do you like? What music do you like, Ming? What do you listen to?
I think he's shy.
Show these adults that you can speak and they can speak too. Show them you're speaking before they do. What's amazing, Zannie, is there'll be a mix of kids and adults. All the kids will be speaking in my class. All the adults are like,
they start when they're young. I'm pretty sure they're shy. Just don't want to be the center of attention. Whereas when you're a kid, you want to be the center of attention.
Rosa talker. Rosa's mom told me she was a little shy, and my pong will speak. Boy, you keep saying you want to go. You got 3 people that just joined you. 3 new people that just joined.
I'm gonna have to cut it short now. So yeah, I'll be
seeing you later.
I need to go to bed.
Right. All right, you guys. My pong. Sorry if you're hearing this now. It's a little too late. Teacher Zannie will be on again. You can follow her link on Web Talk.
If you want to stay in touch. If you don't want to, no hard feelings.
When do you think your next class will be? Give or take,
next week,
maybe Monday.
Most likely, probably at a time similar than this. At this time, it's like relaxed.
Gosh, more people heard. I'm gonna let that person in. The end. Yeah, you better tell me you get unless you want to keep them going. Okay. All right, you guys. I'm gonna end the live.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was very pleasure. Bye bye.
And
bye, Chris.
All right, Ming. Next time, Ming. All right. Bye bye, you guys. Oh, did you let that person